Okay, now, what you've all been waiting for. The Mayor's report. Has anybody got any questions? I'm moving it, obviously. And Celeste is seconding it. Oh, thank you very much, Celeste. Mark, you got a question, but
Yeah.
I'll just quickly go over it. Quickly, you'll see on there the public health representative, and because Melanie's not here, she's getting extended onto there for 3 more years because she's done a fantastic job. See recruitment. July, we're searching, screening and going out for marketing. August, we're assessing the candidates. September, council workshop for consideration of the candidates. And October, appointment made and announced. There will be future update in coming months, and uses a job description that we all approved in May. Now, going down to the next one, I was very lucky to go 2 sleeping pills on the plane to Singapore. I was there for 3 days and 2 sleeping pills on the plane on the way back. So it was a very short whistle-stop tour. But the thing that my proudest moment was, here's little Philip from North Beach sitting up the front of a room with 92 mayors from around the world in it. And it was like the United Nations. It was great, and an extremely well-run event. So that was particularly good. It spoke about the Christchurch economy and where we're heading and what we're doing and resilience. And no, it was great. It was a good regenerative economic ambition to transform to a regenerative economy. So that was very, very good. Well worth going to. They have it. Last year was in Seoul, which I went to. This year's Singapore. Next year, I'm not sure where it is. There is some talk of, I do know, it's going to Austria, but that's sort of a bridge too far to go all the way over there for 3 days, I could possibly say. Okay, righto. Supporting safer streets. Jake came and saw me about threatening begging. Yeah. So I'm more than happy to support this, and if we can give anyone any strength or the police, whatever, to be able to combat that sort of thing, because people don't need, it's bad enough that there's beggars out there and for one reason or another, but whether they're threatening or not, that's certainly not cricket. So I'm more than happy to support that. So, sorry, Mark, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. My question sort of comes along that safer streets. And I did notice in the paper this morning an article around this, and it mentioned homelessness. And one of the things that I was wondering if we as a council might be able to look into is the opportunity to perhaps use some of our vacant properties around the city. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head with Gilberthorpe's Road and the Opawa Children's Library that sit vacant and could be a roof over someone's head. Could we, is there an opportunity to work with City Mission, Methodist Mission, someone as a partner to activate those spaces on a temporary basis?
It does. It's a good question. There is, I know of another building that Yanni is keen on using, but by the time because we're council, we have to do it proper. Sort of. I'm not saying we're not doing it proper. By the time you insulate it, make it warm and dry, and all that sort of thing, it's not. I shouldn't say it's not worth it, it's always worth it. But one of the things that always used to stick in my mind with when I was on OCHT, we built those 90 units in Brum Street, and we took a homeless person in there, and because there was no wraparound service around them, they just couldn't handle it, and they actually did quite a lot of damage inside it. One of the best things, I think, is what the Methodist Mission is doing. They've got the wraparound support, they've got that coffee shop and place where people can congregate and not get ripped off for a coffee or anything like that, and it's great because they can see if someone's going off the rails. If you put someone into a house that's never been in that situation, the poor buggers don't know what to do. So I agree with what you're saying, but we could end up spending more, and it's better off to do what we're doing with OCHT or Methodist Mission.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts more around the emergency space rather than the more permanent. So
there has been. I talked to the minister. Who was he? Minister of Housing. There's been a vast reduction in the amount of people that are in emergency housing in Christchurch over the last year. A lot, like hundreds, which is very good to see. Very good to see. So we're on the right side of the curve. Thank you. Sarah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, with the Auckland and Wellington bylaws, I think it's the Wellington one looks like it's part of another like part of an overall bylaw of some thing. I'm just wondering how long that's been in place. I mean, I'm really interested to see if things have changed in Wellington since this has been in, because the advice that we've had twice previously, once in the last council, once the time before, or the time before that, was that it wasn't particularly effective, was being struggled to and being enforced, and was potentially a breach of human rights. So I'm just wondering how long they've been in place, those ones, and whether they've been effective, and whether we know that.
I'm not sure, but as I say, we're just seeking further staff advice, and we'll come back to you and let you know, because it's no use doing a hell of a lot of work with that.
Yeah. Especially if you're just having a bylaw on its own, whereas it looks like this is part of something else, which includes things like don't drive on beaches and things. So, which actually I agree with. Don't drive on beaches. So.
I think the Auckland bylaw is older, and they do put it. They do seldomly use it. So it's yeah. We have to look at Auckland.
Victoria.
Just following up on that, has this council considered this before?
No. We've had advice.
I chose not to.
How long ago was that?
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Was that the same thing though?
No,
Hasn't
it was
the
a
council
bylaw across the board, I think, wasn't it?
I don't think we've ever actually had
Paper.
a
No.
No.
Yeah.
It was definitely pre-air time, but I remember, but it was more about banning begging, which I would be abhorrent. I would never support that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be good to have a fresh look at it. Thanks.
Celeste.
This is just a question of clarification. In regards to that specific bylaw, will we be considering other kinds of antisocial behaviour in those spaces, or will it be restricted to things like begging? Because I'm aware that some areas might have more issues with that, but others might be a mix of other types of antisocial behaviour which we aren't currently managing appropriately. Oh, I'm thinking more in some of the commercial districts around Wilson and New Brighton. There are quite a mix of things. So some areas have kind of a very specific types of issues. Others have quite a broad range, which basically been ignored. So could we make it slightly broader so that we pick up on anything that falls outside of the scope of begging specifically?
So why don't we come back? So
To reduce
the key,
antisocial behaviour and including begging and other, just a slight tweak. Would you be comfortable with that?
Staff will be coming back to us
we'll
anyway.
come back with some advice, because
Okay.
we'll need to have some discussions with the police and other agencies about which aspects need a bylaw, and many aspects won't need a bylaw. But it's where a bylaw would be useful if you were going to have it.
We could come up with all the ideas in the world, but if we can't be actioned, it's then we need to work in with them. So, is that right? Okay, so the second is obviously very happy because she seconded it, aren't you? Any debate? Any debate? Anyone? No? I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Against? Thank you. Carried. Thank you, Pauline.